Hey everybody, and welcome once again back to another episode of Toxic Love. So today's story is based upon the Chris Watts family murders, which happened in August of 2018. Now, this story, folks, is hailing from out of Frederick, Colorado, and it's based upon Christopher Watts, who happened to be an American oil field operator, and him murdering his pregnant wife at the time, Shannon, by strangulation, and their two children, Bella and Celeste, by smothering them. Now, he buried Shannon in a shallow grave after murdering her near an oil storage facility, and dumped his children's bodies into crude oil tanks. Watts initially maintained his innocence in his family's disappearance, but was arrested on August 15 after confessing to murdering Shannon in an interview with detectives. He later admitted to murdering his children. Now, Mr. Christopher Watts was born May 16, 1985. His wife, Shannon, was born on January 10th, 1984, which made them a year apart. They were originally from North Carolina. So, after him landing his job as an oil field operator, they relocated to Colorado afterwards. And they met in 2010, then married in Mecklenburg County on November 3rd, 2012. The couple had two daughters, Bella Marie Watts, born December 17, 2013, and she happened to die on August 13, 2018. And Celeste Catherine, quote unquote, CC Watts, born on July 17, 2015, and happened to succumb on August 13, 2018. At the time of her death, Shannon was also 15 weeks pregnant with a boy who was to be named Nico. The Watts family lived in a 5-bedroom home at 2825 Saratoga Trail in Frederick, Colorado, in a nice upscale area, which they purchased in 2013. The family declared bankruptcy though in 2015. Christopher Watts was employed by Anadarko Petroleum, while Shannon worked from home. In other words, she was a stay-at-home wife, selling a product called quote unquote Thrive for a multi-level marketing company named quote unquote Lavelle. At approximately 1:48 a.m. on Monday, August 13, 2018, Shannon, returning from a business trip to Arizona, was driven home by her friend and colleague Nicole Yatoff Atkinson. Over that weekend, Chris Watts had been home with their daughters. Later that day, Shannon and the girls were reported missing by Atkinson, who became concerned when Shannon missed a scheduled obstetrics and gynecology appointment and failed to return her text messages. After Shannon missed a business meeting, Atkinson went to the Watts residence at about 12:10 p.m. When the doorbell and knocks went unanswered, Atkinson notified Christopher, who was at work, and called the Frederick Police Department. A Frederick police officer arrived to conduct a welfare check at about 1:40 p.m. During the welfare check, Christopher gave the police officer permission to search the house, where the family dog was discovered unharmed with no sign of Shannon or the girls was found. Searchers discovered Shannon's purse containing her keys and the children's medicine. Her phone was later located between the couch cushions and the family home. Her car, which still contained the girls' car seats, was in the garage. Shannon's wedding ring was found on the bedside table. The FBI and the Colorado Bureau of Investigation joined the investigation the next day. Watts initially told police that he had no idea where his family might be and that he had not seen his wife since 5:15 a.m. the previous day. When he left for work, he gave interviews to Denver stations KMGH-TV and KUSA-TV outside the house, pleading for the return of his wife and daughters. Investigators with search dogs could be heard on the property during the interview. Now, Chris Watts was arrested on August 15, 2018, according to the arrest affidavit and footage from a security camera in the interview room. He failed a polygraph test and subsequently confessed to murdering Shannon. He asked to speak to his father before confessing. According to the affidavit, Watts was having an affair and claimed he asked for a separation from Shannon. During the investigation, he claimed Shannon had strangled the girls in response to his request for separation and that he had then strangled her in a fit of rage and transported the bodies to a remote oil storage site leased by his employer, Anadarko Petroleum. Watts was fired by the company on August 15th, the day of his arrest. The authorities located the bodies of the Watts family on an oil storage site situated approximately 3 miles north of Rockett on August 16th. The girls' bodies were found in crude oil storage tanks. That's sad. Both sad and crazy at the same time. While Shannon was buried in a shallow grave nearby, Bella and Celeste's bodies had each been pushed through a hatch at the top of a different oil tank. With the lid being 8 inches, 20 centimeters in diameter. According to the medical examiner, Bella had scratches on her left buttock from being shoved through this hole. A tuft of blonde hair was found on the edge of one of these hatches. On August 21st, Watts was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, including an additional 1 count per child, cited as quote-unquote death of a child who had not yet attained 12 years of age and the defendant was in a position of trust, unlawful termination of a pregnancy, and 3 counts of tampering with a deceased human body. He was later denied bail at his first court appearance. At a later hearing, his bail was set at $5 million, with him being required to put down 15% to be released. The case has been connected in the media to the crime of family annihilation, familicide. In other words, many of these crimes occur in August before school starts, which may delay detection and investigation. According to former FBI profiler Candace D. Long, cases such as the Watts are rare because quote-unquote family annihilators usually commit suicide after the murders, an action that Watts claimed to have come to play out of guilt for his actions. Well, why do it in the first place if you knew after doing so, after committing the murders, you would want to contemplate killing yourself after doing so? Anyway, in an interview on Dr. Phil, Watts later claimed that he confessed to killing Shannon after an argument regarding divorce. During the murders, Bella walked in on the couple. Watts then told her that Shannon was sick. He loaded Shannon's body and the girls without their car seats into the back seat of his work truck. He later smothered the girls one after the other. I mean, how low down and dirty could a person be? I consider this very low down, dirty, and cold-blooded. Anyway, Watts pleaded guilty to the murders on November 6th. The death penalty was not put forward by the district attorney on the request of Shannon's family. Well, at least they had mercy upon him, who did not wish for any further deaths. They were supportive of his decision to accept the plea deal. On November 19, 2018, he was sentenced to 5 life sentences, 3 consecutive and 2 concurrent, without the possibility of parole. He received an additional 48 years for the unlawful termination of Shannon's pregnancy and 36 years for 3 charges of tampering with a deceased body. his sentence began immediately. On December 3rd, 2018, Watson moved to an out-of-state location due to quote-unquote security concerns. On December 5th, he arrived at Dodge Correctional Institution, a maximum security prison in Waupun, Wisconsin, to continue serving his life sentences. Man, this is so sad and heartbreaking. And my condolences really does go out to the family of Shannon Watts, the wife that was murdered by Christopher Watts. I mean, it's even more heartbreaking that not only did he murder her, but he also murdered the two kids, their two beautiful, innocent kids in the process. Personally, I don't feel any compassion on his behalf at all. I'm glad that justice was served and he got to the life sentences that he's serving right now and has been serving for the past almost 5 years. And this just goes to show you folks, because he had a beautiful, loving wife, two beautiful kids, a nice home in a nice, very nice and high-end upscale neighborhood. This just goes to show you people that no matter how happy some people may seem on the outside, it's no telling what they're going through behind closed doors on the inside. And unless she were here to defend herself, Miss Shannon Watts will never know the true full story of what caused Mr. Christopher Watts to go so ballistic to the extent that he murdered her. True enough, they contemplated a divorce prior to him, or as a result of him having an affair with another woman, but we'll never know exactly what tempted him to cheat on Miss Shannon Watts with the other woman that he was seeing while married to her, and prior to murdering both her and their two children. Well, might as well say there are three children, because not only did he murder the two daughters, she was pregnant in the process, and he happened to murder her kid that she was on the verge of having, their third kid that she was on the verge of having by him as well. This, once again, folks, is so sad and so tragic of a story. Anyway, I'm not going to keep on dragging this video that much more further. Before I close out the video, make sure you guys like the video. Let me know what you think about this whole story, this whole sad and tragic story, by commenting down below. Share the video on my channel, Toxic Love. Last but not least, subscribe to the channel. Goodbye, guys.